businessman goes out with humble woman, but discovers she cares for 3 children and everything changes. Michael Johnson adjusted his tie for the 3rd time that morning as he waited for the elevator on the top floor of the most modern office building in New York City. At 42, he had achieved everything he had ever dreamed of: a thriving company, a penthouse apartment, and respect in the business world. It was during an important meeting that hunger forced him to step out to the corner diner. There, serving coffee with a genuine smile that contrasted with the rush of the place, was her. Something about Jennifer's simple demeanor stirred something in Michael that he couldn't explain. "Good morning, what would you like?" she asked, her sweet voice making him momentarily forget why he was there. Coffee and a donut, please," he replied, watching as she moved efficiently yet always found time to smile at each customer. Michael returned the next day, and the day after, always at the same time, always ordering the same thing. Jennifer began to notice, and by the 5th day, she had his order ready when he arrived. "Do you work in that building?" she asked, pouring the steaming coffee. "Michael Johnson. I run a consulting firm on the 10th floor," he said, extending his hand. "Jennifer Davis," she replied, shaking his hand gently. Their conversations started small, about the weather, the busy diner, but gradually Michael discovered that Jennifer had a natural intelligence that impressed him. She spoke about regular customers as if they were old friends, remembered everyone's orders, and always had a kind word for those who walked in. A week later, Michael mustered his courage. "Jennifer, would you like to have dinner with me tonight?" She stopped what she was doing and looked him straight in the eye. "I can't do dinner, Michael, but if you'd like, we can have lunch on Sunday. It just has to be before 5 in the afternoon." The odd condition intrigued him, but he agreed immediately. "Of course, how about a restaurant downtown?" "Something simpler would be better," she said with a smile. "I know a nice, affordable place nearby." On Sunday, Michael dressed casually, trying not to look too formal. The restaurant Jennifer had chosen was small, family-owned, nothing like the places he usually dined. But the food was delicious, and the conversation flowed naturally. Michael learned that Jennifer had grown up on the east side of the city, finished high school, and had been working at the diner for 3 years. She spoke little about her personal life, always steering the conversation away when he tried to dig deeper. "Why always before 5?" he asked when she nervously checked her watch again. "I have commitments in the evening," she replied vaguely. "Things I can't cancel." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. Their meetings became regular, always on Sundays, always ending before 5. Michael began to wonder if she was in another relationship, but something about Jennifer's manner made him believe that wasn't the case. One afternoon, he decided to follow her discreetly. He watched as she took 2 buses to reach Queens, a much simpler neighborhood than he had ever known. She entered a small, faded blue house with a yard where colorful clothes fluttered on the clothesline. Michael stood there for a few minutes, torn between curiosity and respect for her privacy. He decided to leave, but he couldn't stop thinking about what Jennifer was doing in that house. The following Monday, he arrived at the diner earlier than usual. "Jennifer, can I ask you something?" "Of course," she said, though Michael noticed her tense up. "Do you live in Queens?" Jennifer's face went pale. "How do you know where I live?" "I followed you yesterday. I'm sorry, I know it was wrong, but I'm worried about you." Jennifer didn't respond immediately. She finished helping a customer and then walked back over to him. "Michael, there are things in my life that are complicated. It's not that I don't trust you, but..." "But what?" he pressed gently. "You wouldn't understand. Our lives are just too different," she said, with a sadness in her eyes that Michael hadn't seen before. "Try me. I promise I'll understand." Jennifer took a deep breath. "I can't go out at night because I have responsibilities at home, people who depend on me. Your family." "Something like that," she replied evasively. Michael realized he wouldn't get more information right then, but his concern for Jennifer only grew. He began noticing small details, how she sometimes came to work with dark circles under her eyes, how she always ate little during lunch, how her clothes, though always clean, were simple and some were quite worn. A week later, Michael had an idea. "Jennifer, how about I pick you up at home next Sunday? We could go somewhere farther away." "No!" The answer came out sharper than she intended. "I'm sorry, Michael, but that's not possible." "Why?" he asked, hurt. Because my aunt is sick and doesn't like visitors," she lied, avoiding his gaze. Michael knew she wasn't telling the truth, but he didn't push. He decided to give her space and try a different approach. A few days later, he called the diner pretending there was an emergency, and he needed to reach Jennifer. The owner, suspecting nothing, told him she didn't have Jennifer's exact address on file, just a phone number. Michael started wondering why she would lie about where she lived. His imagination ran wild. Maybe she was married, maybe she had legal trouble, maybe something even worse. The mystery was solved unexpectedly. It was a rainy Thursday when Michael left the office early and decided to stop by the pharmacy before heading home. There, right in front of him, in line, was Jennifer. She was buying an astonishing amount of medicine: children's antibiotics, vitamins, diaper rash cream, cough syrup. Michael was confused. If her aunt was sick, why was she buying medicine for kids? When Jennifer turned to leave, she came face to face with Michael. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Michael, what a coincidence running into you here," she said, trying to hide the bag of medicine. "Hi, Jennifer, everything okay? Looks like someone's sick," he said, glancing at the bag. It's for a neighbor. She has little kids," she answered quickly. Michael knew it was another lie, but this time he decided not to let it go. "Jennifer, can we talk? There's a donut shop right around the corner." She hesitated, but finally agreed. They sat at a table in the back, away from other customers. "Jennifer, I know you've been lying to me," Michael said gently. "I'm not judging, but I'm worried. If you're in some kind of trouble, maybe I can help." Jennifer stayed silent for a long time, nervously stirring her coffee. When she finally looked up, her eyes were filled with tears. "Michael, if I tell you the truth, you'll run away and never want to see me again." "Try me," he said, reaching across the table to touch her hand. Jennifer took a deep breath. "I take care of 3 kids, but they're not my family. They're not even my biological children." Michael stayed quiet, waiting for her to continue. "Ethan is 8. His parents were my neighbors. When his mother got a job in another city, they just moved away and left him with me. They said they'd come back for him in a few months." "That was 2 years ago," she said, her voice trembling. "And the other children?" "Emma is 5. I found her at my door one morning with a note from her mother saying she couldn't take care of her. And little Noah is 3. He's the son of a friend of mine who had drug problems and disappeared a year ago." Michael was speechless. Finally, he understood the meetings that always ended before 5, the lies, the evasive behavior. "Jennifer, are you taking care of 3 children all by yourself?" "I had no choice, Michael. I couldn't leave them on the street." Ethan cried every night asking where his parents were. Emma was still in diapers when she arrived, and Noah, he still looks for his mother. "But that's too much responsibility for one person." "I know," she said, wiping her tears. "That's why I can't have a normal life. My entire salary goes to them. Food, clothes, medicine, school supplies. I sleep on the couch so they can have the bedrooms. I can't go out at night because they have nightmares and need me." Michael was moved by Jennifer's generosity. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I know how people react. It's happened with other men who were interested in me. When they find out about the kids, they run. And I understand, Michael. You're a successful businessman. Why would you get involved with a woman who comes with 3 children who aren't even yours?" "Jennifer." "No, Michael. I'll understand if you want to stop seeing me. It was good while it lasted, but our lives are just too different." Michael held her hand firmly. "I want to meet the children." Jennifer looked at him, surprised. "What?" "If they're important to you, then they're important to me too. I want to meet them." "Michael, you don't understand. They don't trust men. Ethan protects the younger ones like a little adult. Emma is very shy, and Noah, he's afraid of all men because of bad experiences with his mother's boyfriends." "Then we'll take it slow," said Michael. "It doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. Whenever you think it's the right time." Jennifer couldn't hold back her tears. Why would you want to complicate your life like this, Michael? Because I've fallen in love with you, Jennifer. And if these children are part of your life, then they're part of mine too. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. 2 weeks passed before Jennifer gathered the courage to take Michael to her home. She had prepared the children, explaining that a friend would come to visit them. When Michael entered the small house in Queens, he was met by 3 pairs of wary eyes. Ethan, a dark-haired 8-year-old with sharp eyes, stood in front of the younger ones like a guardian. Emma, a little girl with curly hair, hid behind Jennifer. Noah, a blonde boy with blue eyes, ran to his room. "Kids, this is Michael, the one I told you about," Jennifer said, trying to keep her tone natural. "Hi," said Ethan, but he didn't move from his protective stance. Michael crouched to be at the children's eye level. "Hi, Ethan. Aunt Jennifer told me you're very smart and take good care of Emma and Noah." Ethan nodded but kept a serious expression. "I'm the man of the house." "That's very important," Michael said respectfully. "Every man needs to take care of his family." The answer seemed to please Ethan, who relaxed slightly. Jennifer showed Michael around the house. It was small, but very tidy and clean. In the girls' room, Emma had hidden under the bed. In the boys' room, Noah was clutching a worn-out teddy bear. "Noah, do you want to come meet Michael?" Jennifer asked gently. "Is he going to take us away?" the boy asked in a frightened little voice. "No, my dear. No one is going to take you away. Michael is my friend." During the visit, Michael observed the dynamics of this unlikely family. Ethan truly behaved like a little adult, helping Jennifer with chores and looking after the younger ones. Emma was affectionate but extremely shy. Noah was a sweet boy, but clearly traumatized by past experiences. Michael also noticed how the house, though full of love, showed signs of financial struggle. The sofa where Jennifer slept was old and uncomfortable. The fridge made a strange noise. The children's clothes, though clean, had patches and were getting too small. When he left that afternoon, Michael couldn't stop thinking about their situation. Jennifer was raising 3 children on a waitress's salary. How did she manage? The following Monday, he arrived at the diner with a proposal. "Jennifer, I want to help financially." "No." Her reply was immediate and firm. "Jennifer, be reasonable. You can't support 3 children alone on this salary." "I can, Michael. We don't go hungry. We have a roof over our heads. The kids go to school. But you're working yourself to death. I saw the dark circles under your eyes, how thin you've gotten." "I won't accept charity, Michael," she said, her pride wounded. "It's not charity, it's an investment in their future. Education, better clothes, maybe health insurance." "Michael, some things can't be fixed with money. These kids don't need a rich benefactor. They need love, stability, someone they can trust." "And you think I can't offer that?" Jennifer sighed. "I don't know, Michael. You live in a very different world from ours. When the novelty wears off, when you realize how much work it is, you might change your mind." The conversation ended tensely, with Michael feeling rejected and Jennifer feeling misunderstood. In the weeks that followed, Michael kept visiting the children, but Jennifer kept her distance. She was polite but cold, clearly still hurt by the offer of financial help. It was Ethan who broke the ice. One day when Michael arrived for a visit, the boy pulled him aside. "Uncle Michael, Aunt Jennifer is sad because of you." "Why do you say that, Ethan?" "Because she cries in the shower, and she only cries when she's really worried about us or really sad. And you think she's sad because of me? She likes you. She smiles differently when she talks about you. But I think she's scared." "Scared of what?" "Scared you'll leave like the others," Ethan said, with striking maturity for an 8-year-old. "What others, Ethan?" "Before you, there were other men who liked Aunt Jennifer. But when they saw there were 3 of us here, they disappeared." Aunt Jennifer would get sad but pretend she was fine. Michael's heart ached. "Ethan, can I promise you something?" "What?" "I won't abandon you. Not you, not Emma, not Noah, not Aunt Jennifer." Ethan stared into Michael's eyes for a long time, as if weighing the sincerity of his words. "Do you really promise?" "I promise." "Then it's okay. You can date Aunt Jennifer." Michael laughed at the boy's formality. "Thank you for your permission, Ethan." That night, Michael talked to Jennifer about his conversation with Ethan. She was moved to hear the boy had approved of their relationship. "You know, Michael, Ethan never accepted any man who showed interest in me. He's very protective. And now I think I can trust you," she said, moving closer to him on the couch. Michael kissed her for the first time that night, with 3 pairs of little eyes peeking from the hallway door. When they pulled apart, they heard muffled giggles and tiny feet running away. "I think we have an audience," Michael said, smiling. "We always do," Jennifer laughed. "But that's how I like it." From that day on, Michael became a constant presence in the house in Queens. He would show up after work to help the kids with their homework. He brought pizza on Saturdays, told bedtime stories. Little by little, the children began to open up to him. Emma started talking more, showing she was a smart and creative girl. Noah stopped hiding when Michael arrived and even began calling him Uncle Mike. But it was Ethan who developed the strongest bond with Michael. The boy who carried the weight of being the man of the house finally had someone to share that responsibility with. Things were going well until life decided to test the new family. One morning, Jennifer received an unexpected visitor at work. "Jennifer Davis?" asked a serious woman with glasses and a folder in her hand. "Yes, that's me. I'm Amanda Wilson, a social worker. I need to talk to you about the children under your care." Jennifer's world collapsed in that moment. What happened? "We received an anonymous complaint that you're caring for minors without legal authorization. I need to schedule a visit to your home to assess the situation." Jennifer tried to stay calm. "The children are fine with me. They have everything they need. I'm sure your intentions are good, Mrs. Davis, but there's a protocol to follow. Informal guardianship isn't legally recognized. If conditions aren't adequate, the children will need to be relocated." "Relocated where?" "Shelters, foster families, close relatives. It depends on each case." When Amanda Wilson left, Jennifer broke down in tears. The diner owner, noticing her state, let her leave early. Michael was at the office when he received Jennifer's desperate call. He cancelled all his afternoon meetings and went straight to Queens. He found Jennifer on the couch, being comforted by Ethan, who was trying to stay strong for her. Emma was in her lap, not fully understanding what was happening, and Noah played on the floor, oblivious to the tension. "What exactly did the social worker say?" Michael asked after Jennifer explained everything. "That she needs to do an evaluation visit. If she decides the conditions aren't adequate, she can take the children away. And what criteria will she use? I'm not sure. The state of the house, financial stability, legal documentation." Michael grew thoughtful. "Jennifer, do you have any kind of document proving you're responsible for the children?" "No, it was all very informal. With Ethan, his parents didn't even leave a power of attorney. Emma only came with that note. And as for Noah, I never managed to contact his mother after she disappeared. That complicates things," Michael admitted. "Michael, I can't lose these kids. They're my family, and they can't be separated. Ethan would protect the little ones with his life if he had to. That won't happen, Jennifer. We'll find a solution." That night, after the children went to bed, Michael and Jennifer talked late into the night about options. Michael mentioned the possibility of hiring a lawyer specializing in family law. "How much will that cost?" Jennifer asked. "Don't worry about that now." "Michael, I've told you I won't accept charity." "Jennifer, this isn't charity. This is fighting for our family." The word "our" made Jennifer stop arguing. It was the first time Michael had referred to the children as his family too. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The lawyer Michael hired, Mr. Jonathan Roberts, got straight to the point during the first consultation. The situation was complicated but not impossible to resolve. "The first step is to regularize each child's situation individually," he explained. "For Ethan, we need to try to locate his parents and get a power of attorney or formal relinquishment. For Emma, we'll need to start an adoption process. And for Noah, we first have to officially declare his mother's disappearance." "How long does that take?" asked Jennifer. "In the best-case scenario, a few months. In the worst, it could take years." And in the meantime? In the meantime, you need to show that you provide a stable and suitable environment for the children. That includes housing conditions, financial stability, and family support. Michael and Jennifer exchanged a glance. The house in Queens, though full of love, was far from meeting official standards. There's an alternative that could speed up the process, continued Mr. Jonathan. If you were married, it would give the situation more legal stability. A couple has a better chance of gaining custody than a single person. Michael felt his heart race, but said nothing. Jennifer turned red and also stayed silent. Leaving the lawyer's office, they walked quietly to the car. It was Michael who finally spoke. Jennifer, I know this might sound crazy, but... Michael, no, she interrupted. I know what you're going to say, and I can't accept it. You don't even know what I was going to say. You were going to propose marriage as a practical solution to the legal problem, and I can't marry for convenience, Michael. It wouldn't be fair to either of us. What if it wasn't just for convenience? Jennifer stopped walking. What do you mean? Jennifer, I love you, and I love those kids too. I'm not proposing a fake marriage. I'm proposing we make official what's already happening. We're a family. Michael. I know you feel the same, Jennifer. I've seen how you smile when I arrive, how you relax when I'm helping with the kids. You don't have to be afraid. Jennifer started to cry. I am afraid, Michael. Afraid this is just a moment of heroism on your part. Afraid that when you realize the reality of everyday life, you'll regret it. Jennifer, I've been living that reality for months. I sleep at your place more than mine. I help Ethan with math. I comfort Emma when she has nightmares. I play with Noah. This is already my life, and I love every second of it. What if the social worker finds out we're only considering marriage because of her? It can't look like a sham. Then let's do it right. Let's get married because we love each other and want to build a family. The legal part is just a bonus. Jennifer was silent for a long time. Michael, if I say yes, there's no going back. These kids will be your children, with everything that means. Sleepless nights, worries, huge financial responsibilities. Jennifer, I already know that, and I want it. What about your career, your friends, your family? Michael had thought about it. His parents lived upstate and were simple people who would surely understand. His friends, well, some might not get it, but that didn't matter. My career can adjust. My real friends will support my decision, and my family will love you and the kids. Jennifer wiped her tears. I need to talk to the kids first. Of course. That night, after dinner, Jennifer gathered the 3 children in the living room. Michael was there, but let her lead the conversation. Kids, you know Uncle Michael is very special to me, right? We know, said Ethan. You kiss when you think we're not looking. Jennifer turned red. Ethan! It's true, Auntie, said Emma, laughing. We see everything. Noah, sitting on Michael's lap, simply smiled. Well, then you already know Uncle Michael and I care about each other very much. And he really likes you too. We like him too, said Emma. So I want to know what you think about Uncle Michael coming to live here with us forever. Forever for real? Asked Ethan. Forever, confirmed Michael. Like a real family. Ethan grew serious. And if we act up a lot, you won't leave? Ethan, son, I'm never leaving. Not if you act up. Not if you get sick. Not even if I get mad. Family doesn't abandon family. Just like real parents do with their kids? Asked Emma, with a heartbreaking innocence. Exactly like that, said Michael, his voice choked up. Then I think we can try, said Ethan, speaking as the leader of the 3. Emma clapped her hands in joy. Noah, still too little to fully understand, just laughed at the excitement. The social worker's visit was scheduled for the following Friday. Michael and Jennifer spent the whole week preparing the house and organizing documents. Michael quietly made some improvements, fixing the fridge, replacing the living room sofa bed with a new one, setting up a makeshift office where the kids could do homework more comfortably. Jennifer protested at first, but Michael argued he wasn't doing it to impress the social worker. It was his home now too. On Thursday night, the evening before the visit, Michael made it official. He knelt in the living room in front of the 3 kids and proposed to Jennifer with a simple but beautiful ring. Jennifer Davis, will you marry me and make an official family with these 3 wonderful kids? Yes, she said, crying with emotion. The kids cheered. Ethan hugged Michael tightly, and Emma said she'd always wanted a real dad. Amanda Wilson's visit on Friday was tense, but went better than expected. She interviewed each child separately, inspected the house, reviewed documents, and took notes. "I can see the children are well cared for and loved," she said finally. "But there's still the legal matter of informal guardianship." "We're handling that," said Jennifer. "We hired a lawyer." "And any updates on your family situation?" Michael and Jennifer exchanged a glance. "Actually, yes. We're getting married." Amanda looked surprised but not disapproving. "That will certainly help the legal process. An established couple has a better chance at custody." She left, promising to return in a month for a second evaluation once legal procedures progressed further. That night, the family celebrated with pizza and soda. The kids were thrilled about the wedding and that the social worker hadn't taken anyone away. But the peace didn't last. The following Monday, Mr. Jonathan called with news that changed everything. "Michael, we've located Ethan's parents." "That's good, right?" "Depends on your perspective. They're in Rochester and want him back." Michael felt the world spin. "What?" "Apparently they've settled in the new city and can now care for him. They're demanding Ethan return to them, but they abandoned him 2 years ago. Legally, they're the biological parents. They have custody priority." Michael hung up, hands shaking. How would he tell Jennifer? How would he tell Ethan? He decided to wait for more details but couldn't hide his worry. Jennifer noticed something was wrong, but Michael blamed work stress. On Wednesday, Mr. Jonathan called again with more details. Ethan's parents not only wanted him back, they were threatening legal action if he wasn't returned immediately. "Michael, legally, they have the right. The only way to stop them would be to prove they're unfit parents, and we don't have evidence of that." "But what about abandonment? Doesn't that count?" "They claim they left the boy temporarily while settling into the new city. Technically, it wasn't abandonment." Michael knew he couldn't hide the situation any longer. That night, after the children went to bed, he told Jennifer everything. She was devastated. "Michael, I can't lose Ethan. He's like a son to me. And the other kids, they adore him. Separating them would be traumatic." "I know, love. We'll fight this." "How? You just said legally they have the right." Michael spent the whole night thinking of solutions. The next morning, he had a risky idea. "Jennifer, what if we talked directly to Ethan's parents?" "What do you mean?" "What if we went to Rochester and tried to negotiate? Maybe they're acting on impulse. Maybe when they see how well Ethan is doing here, how happy he is, they'll change their minds." "And if they don't?" "Then at least we tried." Jennifer agreed, but both knew it was a desperate attempt. They planned the trip for the weekend, leaving the kids with Jennifer's trusted neighbor. Ethan noticed their absence, but they told him it was a work trip. The drive to Rochester was tense. Michael drove while Jennifer stayed silent, clearly anxious. They found Ethan's family living in a modest but tidy home. His father, Robert, and mother, Sarah, greeted them with hostility. "So you're the people raising our son?" Robert said, not inviting them in. "We've cared for Ethan since you moved away," Jennifer said, keeping her tone respectful. "Cared for? You kidnapped our boy," Sarah snapped. "Kidnapped?" Michael raised his voice. "You abandoned a 6-year-old child." "We didn't abandon anyone. We left Ethan temporarily until we settled here. Now we can take care of him." 2 years, Sarah. You disappeared for 2 years, Jennifer said, tears in her eyes. "We had financial struggles, needed to get back on our feet," Robert explained. Michael tried a different approach. "Look, maybe we can reach an agreement. Ethan is doing really well where he is. He has friends, school, 2 kids who see him as their big brother." "Other kids?" Sarah seemed interested. "Jennifer takes care of 2 more children. They see each other as siblings. Taking Ethan away from them would hurt everyone." Robert and Sarah exchanged glances. "More kids mean more expenses. We can only handle Ethan." "Then let him stay with us," Jennifer pleaded. "You can visit whenever you want, be part of his life, but he's happy here." "No," Sarah said firmly. "He's our son. We want him back." The conversation ended in a stalemate. Robert and Sarah gave an ultimatum. Either Ethan returned voluntarily or they'd take legal action. On the drive back, Michael and Jennifer were heartbroken. How would they tell Ethan he might have to leave the only family he'd known for 2 years? But the decision came from Ethan himself. When they got home Sunday night, they found him waiting awake in the living room. "Aunt Jennifer, Uncle Michael, you went to talk to my birth parents, didn't you?" Jennifer was stunned. "How did you know, Ethan?" "I heard you talking before the trip, and today Mrs. Amanda called asking about them." Michael knelt in front of the boy. "Ethan, sweetheart, it's complicated. They want me back." "They do," Jennifer confirmed, her voice shaking. Ethan was silent for a long time. "Do you think I should go?" "Ethan, the choice is yours," Michael said. "They are your biological parents. Maybe they regret leaving you here. But what about Emma and Noah? Who will take care of them if I'm not here?" "Son, that's not your responsibility," said Jennifer. "You're only 8 years old." "But I promised them I'd always protect them. And I promised you I'd be the man of the house." Michael felt his heart break, seeing this boy carrying so much weight on his shoulders. "Ethan, being the man of the house doesn't mean you can't be a child too. If you want to meet your parents again, we understand. What if I don't want to? Then we'll fight for you to stay." Ethan hugged Michael and Jennifer at the same time. "I want to stay here. You're my real family. My biological parents left me when I needed them most. You picked me up and took care of me." The next morning, Mr. Jonathan got straight to the point when Michael called him about Ethan's decision. "Michael, the child's wishes are taken into account, especially in cases of proven abandonment. But we'll need a psychological evaluation and possibly a hearing with a judge." "How long will that take?" "A few weeks. And there's another problem. The biological parents have already filed the paperwork. They have a lawyer too." The legal battle had officially begun. Over the following weeks, the house in Queens became a tense place. Ethan was determined to stay, but clearly scared at the possibility of being forced to move. Emma and Noah, sensing the tension, began showing regressive behaviors. Emma started wetting the bed again, and Noah had constant nightmares. The psychological evaluation was conducted by a professional appointed by the court. Dr. Elizabeth Thompson spoke with Ethan over 3 sessions, always with Michael and Jennifer present. "Ethan has a very strong emotional bond with his current family," she explained afterward. "He refers to Michael and Jennifer as his parents and the other children as his siblings. Separation would be traumatic." "What about the biological parents?" "Ethan shows hurt and feelings of abandonment toward them. Though he doesn't hate them, there's no significant emotional connection." The psychologist's words gave Michael and Jennifer hope, but Mr. Jonathan warned them the final decision would be up to the judge. A week before the hearing, something unexpected happened. Sarah, Ethan's biological mother, showed up alone at the diner where Jennifer worked. "Jennifer, can I talk to you?" Jennifer was nervous but agreed. They sat at a table in the back of the diner. "I came here to see my son with my own eyes," said Sarah. "Ethan is fine. He's at school now, but if you want, you can come by the house this afternoon. Actually, I wanted to talk to you first, woman to woman." Jennifer waited in silence. "Jennifer, do you have any biological children?" "No." "Then maybe you don't understand what it's like to lose a child. When we left New York City, it was a desperate situation. Robert lost his job, we were being evicted. We didn't even have money for bus tickets for all of us." "But why didn't you come back for Ethan?" "At first, we thought it would just be a few months. Then, when things got better, so much time had passed. We were ashamed. And when we finally decided to return, we found out he was well cared for, happy." Sarah's voice broke. "Sarah, you can be part of his life without taking him away from where he's happy." "That's what I came to propose," said Sarah, surprising Jennifer. "After talking to the psychologist Robert hired, I realized the best thing for Ethan is to stay where he is." Jennifer couldn't hide her emotion. "Really? But I have one condition. I want to meet these other children he calls his siblings, and I want the right to visit him regularly." "Of course. You can be part of his life whenever you want. And when he turns 18, if he wants to live with us for a while, to get to know us better, will you let him?" "Sarah, when Ethan turns 18, he'll make his own decisions. and we'll support whatever choice he makes." That afternoon, Sarah went to the house in Queens. The meeting between her and Ethan was emotional, but not as Michael and Jennifer had hoped. Ethan was polite but distant. He introduced Emma and Noah to Sarah as his siblings, talked about school, his dreams, but always kept a certain formality. "Ethan, are you mad at me?" Sarah asked at one point. Ethan thought before answering. "I'm not mad, but I have a family now. A family that never left me alone." Sarah began to cry. "Do you forgive me for leaving you?" "I forgive you," Ethan said with impressive maturity. "But I choose to stay here." That night, after Sarah left, she called her husband in Rochester. Michael and Jennifer only heard Sarah's side of the conversation, but they could tell she was convincing Robert to drop the case. "Robert, our son is happy here. He has a family that loves him. We lost the right to take him away when we abandoned him for 2 years." The hearing was cancelled. Ethan's birth parents withdrew their custody request, but arranged visitation rights. They could visit Ethan every 2 months, and he could spend some vacations with them if he wanted. The legal victory paved the way to resolve the situation for the other children. Noah's mother was still missing, so his adoption process was relatively simple. For Emma, who had been formally abandoned, the process was straightforward too. 3 months later, Michael and Jennifer married in a simple backyard ceremony. Ethan walked in as the ring bearer, carrying the wedding bands. Emma was the flower girl, scattering petals she had picked from the neighbor's yard. Noah, the little ring bearer, held his sister's hand. The ceremony was officiated by their local parish priest, who knew the family's story and was moved to tears. Michael's parents, who had come from out of town, were there and immediately fell in love with the children. The neighbor who always helped Jennifer attended, along with some of her co-workers. During the celebration, a simple backyard barbecue, Ethan asked to give a speech. "I want to thank Uncle Michael and Aunt Jennifer for showing me that family isn't about blood. It's about choosing to stay together through hard times. Now we're a real family, on paper and in our hearts." Not a single dry eye remained at the party. A year after the wedding, Michael made a decision that completely changed his professional life. He sold his stake in the consulting firm and used the money to buy a larger property in Queens, where he built a bigger home for the family and opened a small community center. The center offered tutoring for neighborhood kids, computer classes, craft workshops, and support for vulnerable families. Jennifer quit her job at the diner and became the center's coordinator. Ethan, now 10, became a kind of ambassador, helping younger kids and sharing his story to inspire other families. 7-year-old Emma discovered a talent for drawing, and her artwork decorated the center's walls. 5-year-old Noah was the joy of the place, always smiling and playing with the other children. The center began welcoming kids in situations similar to what Ethan, Emma, and Noah had experienced. Michael and Jennifer couldn't adopt them all, but they offered support, legal guidance, and emotional help to families willing to take these children in. 2 years after opening the center, they welcomed a new child. Lily, a 4-year-old, had been left at a hospital by her grandmother after she passed away. The little girl wouldn't speak, clearly traumatized, and didn't trust anyone. It was Ethan who approached her first. At 12, he already had experience dealing with frightened children. He spent hours sitting beside Lily, just keeping her company, without forcing conversation. Emma, now 9, drew colorful pictures for Lily. Noah, 7, shared his favorite toys with her. After 2 weeks, Lily said her first word, "Thank you," when Jennifer tucked her into bed. Michael and Jennifer decided to adopt Lily too. The process was quicker this time, as they already had experience and an established reputation in the foster care system. Lily's adoption ceremony was held right at the community center, with all the neighborhood families present. When the judge asked if she wanted to be part of that family, Lily, who now spoke normally, answered with a radiant smile, "Yes, they're the best family in the world." At the end of the ceremony, Michael looked around and saw the family they had built together. Ethan, now a responsible teenager who could still be a kid when needed. Emma, a creative and caring girl who helped all the younger children. Noah, a cheerful and clever boy who made everyone laugh. And Lily, who was blossoming under the family's loving care. "Jennifer," Michael said, hugging his wife, Do you remember when I asked you why you always had to end our dates before 5? I do, she replied, smiling. Now I understand you weren't hiding anything from me. You were protecting the greatest treasure in the world, these kids, and I was lucky enough to be included in that treasure. Michael, 5 years ago when I met you, I thought my life was complete with just the children. I didn't know I still needed you to make our family perfect. The 4 children ran to them and wrapped them in a group hug. There, in that moment, surrounded by the love of the community they had helped build, Michael and Jennifer knew they had found the true meaning of success. The community center continued to grow. Soon, they offered vocational courses for teens, support for single mothers, and a mentorship program for lonely seniors in the neighborhood. The story of the Johnson Davis family, Michael had taken Jennifer's last name too, spread throughout the region. They received invitations to speak about adoption and foster care, always bringing the children along to share their perspectives. At 15, Ethan decided he wanted to study law to help other kids in similar situations. Emma, 12, dreamed of becoming a child psychologist. Noah, 10, wanted to be a teacher. Lily, 9, was still discovering her dreams, but already showed an interest in music. One Sunday afternoon, exactly 5 years after their wedding, the family gathered in the backyard of their new home. Michael was helping Ethan study for a history test. Jennifer was teaching Lily to play the guitar. Emma was drawing a family portrait. Noah played with the dog they'd adopted the year before. "Daddy," Lily said, interrupting the guitar lesson, "can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetheart." "Why did you and Mommy decide to adopt so many kids?" Michael and Jennifer exchanged a glance and smiled. It was Ethan who answered, without looking up from his history book. "Lily, they didn't adopt us because they wanted kids. They adopted us because we needed parents. And when you truly love someone, you don't count how many there are. You just love." Michael felt his eyes well up. The 8-year-old boy he'd once met had grown into a wise and generous young man. "Exactly, Ethan," Jennifer said. "And love doesn't diminish when it's shared. It multiplies." That night, after all the children had gone to sleep, Michael and Jennifer stayed on the porch looking at the stars. "Do you ever regret it?" Jennifer asked. "Regret what?" "Trading your life as a successful businessman for this crazy life of ours." Michael laughed. "Jennifer, do you know what the best deal of my life was?" "What?" "Having the courage to walk into that diner 5 years ago and order coffee from the most beautiful waitress I'd ever seen. You sure know how to talk." "I'm serious." "Jennifer, I had everything I thought I wanted: money, success, recognition. But I was empty. I lived alone in a huge apartment, worked 12 hours a day to earn more money to buy things I didn't need. I had no family, no real purpose. And now? Now I have 4 wonderful children, a wife who inspires me every day, and work that changes lives. I wake up every morning knowing I have a purpose, that there are people who depend on me, and that I can make a difference in their lives. Even when Ethan is impossible as a teenager, even when Emma gets stubborn, even when Noah makes a mess, even when Lily has nightmares. Especially in those moments, Michael said, kissing Jennifer's forehead. Because that's when they need us most. And it's in those moments I remember that being a father isn't about receiving gratitude. It's about giving unconditional love. The following year, the family received an award from the city for their social work at the community center. During the ceremony, the mayor asked Michael to give a speech. "Ladies and gentlemen," Michael began, 6 years ago, I was a businessman who measured success by profits and wealth. Today, I measure success by smiles and hugs. The community center was born from love, grew with dedication, and flourishes with hope. But I'm not here to talk about the center. I'm here to talk about family, about how a brave waitress taught me that love isn't about having, it's about giving, about how 4 special children taught me that being a father is life's greatest privilege. Today, our center serves over 200 families. We've facilitated 43 adoptions. We offer education, counseling, legal guidance, and lots of love. But none of this would be possible without the most important lesson I've learned. Family isn't defined by blood, but by bonds of choice and love. The speech was interrupted several times by applause. At the end, the 4 children went up on stage and hugged Michael and Jennifer, Ethan, now 16 and almost as tall as Michael, took the microphone. "I want to thank everyone for being here today. But most of all, I want to thank my dad and mom for teaching me that being abandoned doesn't mean being rejected. It means being available to be found by the right family." There wasn't a dry eye in the audience. 2 years later, when Ethan turned 18, he decided to spend a month with his birth parents in Rochester. It was something he'd wanted to do since he was a teenager, to understand his roots and make peace with the past. The whole family took him to the bus station. Emma cried. Noah promised to take care of his brother's room, and Lily begged him to call every day. "Dad, Mom," Ethan said, hugging Michael and Jennifer, "you know you're my real parents, right? This month in Rochester is just for me to close a chapter." "We know, son," Jennifer said, "and we'll be here when you get back." Ethan spent 4 weeks with Robert and Sarah. They were weeks of difficult but necessary conversations. He understood the circumstances that led to his abandonment, fully forgave his birth parents, and built a cordial relationship with them. But when he returned to New York City, he went straight into the arms of Michael and Jennifer. "Now I'm absolutely certain where my place is," he said. "It's here with you, with my siblings, in this family we've chosen to build together." Ethan decided to study law at the public university, but continued living at home and working at the community center. His first case as an intern was helping a family adopt 3 siblings who were about to be separated in the foster care system. Emma, at 15, had already decided she wanted to be a psychologist and work with traumatized children. She started a support group for adopted teens at the community center. Noah, at 13, discovered a talent for math and dreamed of becoming a teacher. He already helped younger kids with tutoring at the center. Lily, at 12, became a talented guitarist and played at the adoption ceremonies held at the center. One Saturday afternoon, exactly 10 years after Michael first walked into that diner, the family was organizing another adoption celebration at the center. This time it was for a couple adopting 5-year-old twins. "Jennifer," Michael said, pausing for a moment in the middle of preparations, "do you remember what you told me at our first meeting about having evening commitments?" "I do. I said there were people who depended on me." "And there were. You just didn't know yet that I'd depend on you too, and that we'd build a family far beyond anything any of us imagined." Jennifer looked around the center. Ethan was arranging chairs with the precision of a young lawyer. Emma was drawing motivational posters with the younger kids. Noah was teaching math to a group of teens. Lily was tuning her guitar for the performance. "Michael, do you think we made a difference?" "Jennifer, look around us. How many families were formed here? How many children found parents? How many lives were changed?" "But I mean for us. Do you think we made a difference in our children's lives?" Michael looked at Ethan, patiently showing a child how to fold a chair. He looked at Emma, comforting a girl nervous about the performance. He looked at Noah, sharing his snack with a friend. He looked at Lily, tuning a younger child's guitar for them to learn. "Jennifer, our children grew into generous, compassionate, intelligent, and loving people. They know the value of family, unconditional love, and kindness. They turned their experiences of abandonment into strength to help others. If that's not making a difference, I don't know what is." The adoption celebration was a success. The twins quickly adjusted to their new family, and Michael and Jennifer once again witnessed the miracle of love, transforming lives. At the end of the celebration, when everyone had left, the Johnson-Davis family gathered in the center's main room for a tradition they had created, the Gratitude Circle. "What are you grateful for today?" Jennifer asked. "I'm grateful for a family that taught me problems are solved together," said Ethan. "I'm grateful for siblings who protect me and parents who love me," said Emma. "I'm grateful for a house full of people I love," said Noah. "I'm grateful for not being afraid of nightmares because I know someone will always comfort me," said Lily. Michael and Jennifer looked at each other, moved as they always were in these moments. "I'm grateful for learning that true success isn't measured by money, but by how many lives you touch with love," said Michael. "And I'm grateful for discovering that the heart has no size limit, that it's possible to love 4 children without loving any of them less," said Jennifer. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, Michael and Jennifer stayed a little longer on the porch, as they had done so many times over the years. "Michael, if you could go back in time and choose a different life, would you?" Michael didn't hesitate. Never. This is the life I was always meant to have. I just didn't know it before I met you. Even with all the hardships, the sleepless nights when the kids were sick, the financial worries, the legal battles. Especially because of all that. Jennifer, love without challenges isn't real love. It's convenience. What we built here was earned with tears, sweat, dedication, and so much love. That makes it all the more precious. And what do you think the future holds for us? More children who need a family, more families who need support, more love to give and receive, and who knows, maybe one day grandkids to spoil, Michael said, laughing. Grandkids? You're already thinking about grandkids? Jennifer, when you have 4 wonderful kids, it's impossible not to dream of equally wonderful grandkids. 5 years later, Michael's dream came true. Ethan, now a law school graduate married to a college classmate who also worked in children's rights, gave the family their first grandchild, Mason, a bright-eyed boy who inherited his father's kindness. Emma, a licensed psychologist, had adopted a 6-year-old girl named Olivia, who was now officially Michael and Jennifer's granddaughter. Noah, a math teacher, was a mentor to 2 teens from the community center. Lily, a music therapist, worked with autistic children and had become a leader in her field. The community center had grown into a nationally recognized institution. Michael and Jennifer received awards from international organizations for their work. But for them, the greatest reward was always Family Sundays, when everyone gathered at their home in Queens for a traditional lunch. It wasn't unusual to have 20 or more people at the table, their children, in-laws, grandchildren, kids in the adoption process, and families from the center. On one of those Sundays, Mason, now 3, asked Michael, "Grandpa, why is our family so big?" Michael lifted his grandson onto his lap and looked around the table. Ethan was chatting excitedly with a couple going through adoption. Emma was helping Olivia cut her food. Noah was explaining a game to the younger kids. Lily played guitar while everyone sang. Mason, our family is big because that's how love is. The more you give, the more you have. And when you have a lot of love, more people naturally come into your life to love. And everyone who comes here becomes family? Everyone who needs a family and wants to be part of ours, yes, Jennifer said, joining them. That's so cool. So I'll have lots of uncles and cousins. You already do, sweetheart. Just look around. Mason glanced at the room full of happy people talking, laughing, and eating together. Grandpa, Grandma, you're the best parents in the world. Actually, Mason, Michael said, we're the luckiest in the world. Because we've learned that family isn't about who you're born to, it's about who you choose to stand by you for life. End of story. Now tell us, what did you think of Michael and Jennifer's story? Do you believe love can create bonds stronger than blood? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know if you've had a similar experience. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss other heartwarming stories about the transformative power of true love.